Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I Man here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, Rovi, and MScribe, and today we got a little dilemma a brewing.
A little bit of drama in the ether, dude.
Yeah,
or not ether.
In the X space, the X space.
There you go, on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
So I guess over the weekend, there's been a lot of up and down discussions about, I guess, Blockimoto's new protocol proposal, right? Something called the TITT standard, if I'm not mistaken. I think that is right. TITT.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an improvement proposal to the bidder standard.
Yeah, we looked into all that and stuff, and Bitoshi directly added us on Twitter. He's like, "Hey, man, you guys need to talk about this on your channel." And at first, we're like, it's something to look into, but I don't know. This isn't really like our space of interest at the moment. I mean, it doesn't seem like anything that's like bad. Communication and social media is obviously a big thing.
Sure.
A major primitive to the internet experience. So yeah, it makes sense to kind of try and figure out who's going to establish that on Web3.
Yeah.
Or more specifically Bitcoin, right?
It's so important that AI uses large language models to do their work, right? And so communication is very important.
Yeah, it's a big one. So, but the bidder standard, I guess, has been around for a while. This is news to us, right?
Yeah. So bidder.lol, you should check it out.
Yeah.
These are basically text inscriptions in a particular standard and someone took that text inscription bidder and allowed people to view those text inscriptions sort of like a Twitter format, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so someone inscribed the King James version, right? Chapter 53:1, I-Man, interested?
That's one of my favorites. Yeah. What else is on here?
Poker.bidder. So basically people just...
you can put whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
There's no rules to what it is you can inscribe, obviously. But this is
correct.
This is... think of it as what? Like a bulletin board?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Reddit.
Yeah.
Like an on-chain Reddit of some kind, right? And people can actually reply here to these individual messages. But these are all inscriptions. See, you got to pay. You're going to receive an inscription as a result.
Right.
So that's what's interesting about all this, right?
Yeah. And so the way that you do this is you use a JSON structure. And so a JSON structure is basically brackets, and you have these operations and so forth.
Like BRC20.
Yeah, like a BRC20.
And
and so there's a lot of text, and the more text there is, the more cost it is.
Okay.
And so if the standard has a lot of text, then the base cost of a bidder transaction is it's higher, right?
Okay.
Now, how much higher? I mean, it really depends on, if you're inscribing Wikipedia versus, a text message.
Yeah.
It's going to be different, right? And so the TITT improvement proposal, right, from Blockimoto is basically TITT : quotation marks, and then you put your text in there, and that's it.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more efficient in terms of cost.
So that's his main sticky point, I guess, right? It's and okay, that all sounds fine and dandy and such.
So the question is, what does this have to do with Bitmap?
Right. That seems to be what everybody. I'm not necessarily. I think it's more. It's okay.
Did you know that we're more than just a YouTube channel? We also built MScribe, the first inscription platform built from the ground up for the metaverse on Bitcoin. Connect your Bitmap ordinals and use our tools to bring your community into the virtual realm. Support us by joining the movement at mscribe.io. Like, comment, and subscribe for the latest alpha. Back to the video.
I guess somehow all this can intertwine at some point with Bitmap. I mean, everything in Web3 is going to play along with each other for sure.
Yeah, right? DeFi, games, anything.
It's all going to exist in the metaverse. The communication layer will definitely be a part of the metaverse ecosystem. So I guess there's just no real wrong thing about focusing on other, I guess, primitives in this whole Web3 space. Because remember, ordinals is brand new, right? So I guess in the communication bucket, there really isn't a home run standard yet. Bitmap was a home run, right?
Yeah.
I would say, as far as a first attempt at bringing some sort of metaverse layer to the Bitcoin ecosystem, home run.
Yeah.
What's the basketball reference, dude?
It's a 3-pointer.
A swoosh?
Yeah.
Nothing but net?
Yeah.
It was one of those, dude. So this whole communication one, Bidder has some adoption for sure, and it's a first mover advantage, but I don't think it's cemented yet, which one of these is the most optimal.
Yeah, and the other advantage is you're inscribing this onto Bitcoin, and so this is immutable data, right?
Yeah, which is, I mean, I think Trevor tweeted something earlier today about how you could literally store all of Wikipedia on Bitcoin. It will take a year because it's like about 100 gigabytes of storage space in order to do so. But the benefits of that is what? It's like now it's truly tamper-proof. Like the government can't come in and censor things or whatever entity.
That's right.
So that's the value of putting stuff on Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So I would imagine things like this, like messages, tweets, it's important too. It's censorship resistant, right?
Yeah, and there's definitely a value here because there's the same reason why Elon is charging about $100 per year to use Twitter. It's to reduce the spam, right?
Yeah.
And if spammers had to pay money to spam, it would be a lot less spam.
Yeah, but this is going to definitely run into some serious scaling issues, right? Whenever like the fees go up.
That's right.
Yeah. I could, there's going to be basically a lack of messaging once this thing costs like $100 to inscribe.
Right.
I mean, you're going to have to really want to say something very important if you're going to pay that kind of money. But scaling issues will be figured out in the future without a doubt, whether it's this or
but the premise is sound, right? To spend money to tweet, it's not like the worst idea in the world.
Yeah, and it's been attempted before.
Yeah,
on other chains.
Yeah, I have that here.
Oh, you do? Yeah,
so a long time ago, in the old days of our podcast,
the old days, dude, we're talking 2019.
This is like our setup in the old days.
Wow, how far we've come, dude.
Yeah. Good old
EOS. Back in those days, EOS was like the talk of the town.
Yeah, they did a live stream, an announcement. This huge drop was happening.
Yeah, this is like their number one, like I guess like flagship product.
Yeah, remember they raised $4 billion.
$4 billion.
So we were expecting a lot.
We were, and they paid $30 million for this domain name,
voice.com. Yeah.
So there's a lot. There's a lot of hype behind this launch, and they're like, "This is it. This is like our flagship product, DApp."
Yeah.
On EOS, and it was like a Twitter where people have to pay and then people will earn as well.
That's right.
So
sounds like Twitter.
Yeah. Well, now, yeah. Like it was supposed to be this whole new decentralized counterpart, but didn't really pan out.
Yeah. So here's what Voice looks like today. This is it. It's an NFT platform.
What is that thing on the right, dude? That didn't look right. God damn.
It's an eyeball, dude.
Are you sure?
I think so.
It looks like a. You know what, dude? That don't look. That's weird.
It's just an eye, dude. Come on.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, we're looking at a bunch of images, and these can be purchased for $100. Right? Here's a shot of a glass with water on it for $500. Iron Man, you interested?
So interested.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
So clearly, Voice didn't really pan out as far as like a Twitter platform.
Right, and that could be for a lot of different reasons. So that pointing this out isn't like, okay, yeah, like decentralized communication or whatever, or social media is like a failed concept. It's in the same way you look back to like older like metaverse, I guess, experiments. Some of them didn't really work out as much as you would hope. So that doesn't mean like the whole metaverse as a concept is like flawed and like doomed to fail all the way through. So I mean, it's worthy of an attempt, right?
Yes.
But I don't think that's what's like up for debate or what's going on as far as like the public resentment for Bitoshi to focus on this. I think a lot of people, for one, they're just disenchanted with the name standard itself.
Yeah, TITT.
To the point where he had to change it to, I think, Y.
Yeah, the letter Y.
It's just Y.
Yeah.
Like literally. So what is that new standard? Just Y, semicolon? And then
same thing.
Your tweets.
Yeah, it's just Y.
Okay.
So even less text. Right?
Even less. Why not just, I don't know.
Just put quotations.
Just a semicolon standard.
Yeah.
That's it. What? Yeah. I don't know, dude. To me, this is why we didn't really like find it too interesting. Like, yeah, it's an important primitive of man. Like, yeah, and I think people are a little taken aback by it because Bitmap did so well. Like I said, it was a home run, and there's a legitimate ecosystem of developing here. Like real devs are contributing a lot of time, a lot of value, even like their own personal financial resources and stuff to build for Bitmaps.
That's right.
Right. So. It's a little bit, I guess the question here is like, yeah, how much do we need to rely on Bitoshi Nakamoto's leadership in order to continue down this like trajectory, right? Because some people are saying, dude, we need to completely dissociate now because he's taking this this TITT narrative a little too far. People are labeling it as a PR disaster, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, dude?
Yeah, so the way that I see it is just like everybody is contributing to Bitmap, so is Bitoshi. And so... The thing that sticks here is the thing that gets market adoption. And so if TITT doesn't stick, people forget about TITT and they move on, right?
Right. Yeah.
And anything as far as Bitmap goes, if it doesn't stick, people forget about it. They move on. They come up with better proposals, and it's the invisible hand of the market that gets to decide what sticks.
Yeah.
And so obviously Bitmap, like you were saying, was a home run. That stuck because it was a good narrative. It's easy to understand, easy to get involved, inexpensive, things like that.
Yeah.
So, as far as like relying on Bitoshi for like the next steps, like he's got something to say, and what he says should be listened to, but doesn't mean that it has to be that way, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important too, because, the strength of this whole like Web3, I guess, experiment is like, any new innovation, I guess, can be introduced into these ecosystems, but largely it's the community backing them that's going to actually create the real value.
That's right.
Look at Bitcoin. Where's Satoshi at? He disappeared a long time ago, right? So Bitcoin ecosystem clearly doesn't need Satoshi anymore, right?
Yeah.
Now look at Ethereum. Vitalik, he's still present, right?
Yeah.
He's around. He's out there.
Yeah.
But as far as like contributions, he's like out there writing like maybe like a quarterly blog or something like that.
Right.
He'll show up at ETH Denver every now and then.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like put a presentation out there. It's like these are my concerns. Like, but largely the community of devs are running the show.
Right. Agreed.
Right. And we're not like pigeonholed to only
we should
Vitalik's
only work
direction.
on exactly what Vitalik is saying.
You're just kind of like referencing his ideas, basically.
Yeah, we attended a conference, and Vitalik showed up on Zoom, and he said that, what I think everybody should be working on is like a better user experience.
Yeah, he's totally right about that.
And he's definitely right, but how much effort is that? Are people putting into that? I mean, it just depends on what everybody's working on, but
correct.
It's not like everyone was scrambling just to improve their user experience because Vitalik said so, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And so, of course, we have this tweet by El Professor, and he's basically, saying respect to Blockimoto, but why are you talking about this? We should be focused on Bitmap. Yeah. And it's a pretty long letter.
It's pretty long. Yeah, this was a lot of passion behind this statement, and I felt for it, and so did Bitoshi apparently, because this guy, he breaks down like he's like, dude, I really bought into this mission, this purpose, right, that Bitmap represents.
Yeah.
I'm dedicating a lot of my own time and resources. He's developing this and that, and costing him money and all this stuff, and he's working his ass off basically, and he's afraid that like this PR disaster could like spiral out of control, and now like it diminishes the whole value of everything everybody's working on, right?
Yeah,
that's the big fear.
Yeah, that's true, because if you're like pitching this to your team or people who you think should learn about Bitmap, and then they go check out Bitoshi's tweets, and all he's talking about is like TITT. Yeah, it's like it's not a good look.
Exactly right. Yeah. I think that's what people are bringing up. That's where the division is at the moment. It's like somebody somebody like a figurehead like a Bitoshi Blockimoto. That is part of like the value of why this probably like part of the reason why Bitmap took off in the first place. Right, it has like that parallel to the anonymity origin story to Bitcoin. Right, there's a pseudo anonymous figurehead, I guess, right? Yeah. Even though we know it's a human being, he's out there, tweeting all day, every day. Yeah. So it's definitely a person, right?
Yeah.
But still, it's like you want to keep that momentum alive, I guess, and not like throw too many roadblocks as far as I don't know.
Or just make it difficult, right, for people to understand exactly what Bitmap is.
That too. Yeah. And people have these expectations too. It's like, it's still very early and maybe not like gravitate to a new idea so quickly. It's like, we need to really hone in on what's important about Bitmap.
Yeah. And I understand sort of that sentiment too, because there's a lot of problems like in a given ecosystem, and you want to solve them all, right? You feel like you can improve something, right? Yeah. And so I get it, right? But when something as big as like the metaverse is happening on Bitcoin, like I think that's interesting enough to keep focus on it.
Yeah, pretty much. So this is kind of like I guess like a PSA for anybody who's like discouraged or like really turned off by all this. It's like the movement is sound, like no matter what, right? At this point, Bitoshi, he could do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants. I mean, I've seen enough evidence as far as like, the community coming together.
Yeah.
And like everyone is aligned, like, right? The theory worked out.
Yeah.
You know, we have now an aligned community all working towards a singular purpose. We're trying to build that metaverse on Bitcoin, right? And I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah. So even Bitoshi, he chimes in and quotes his tweet. He says, "This post upset me to my core, and I really don't want to turn y'all off by exposing TITT so often. So I'd like to announce no more TITT posting today, and I guess the next there's going to be some other announcement."
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is it. So Bitoshi's radio silent for now, you know. And another thing I think he did recently too is like he put a 1 Bitcoin price on like the original.
That's right. Yes.
The original TITT inscription.
The first TITT inscription.
Yeah, and then I think that's another thing that's kind of like not sitting well with the community. Is like, yeah, I'm not going to release the next stages of this Bitmap protocol until somebody buys it, right? So that's now we got a new question, right? Like whether or not, you know, how do you sustain development now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Bitoshi wants to contribute in a development sense.
Yeah, no matter what, that's always going to be a challenge.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of experience in that, you know. The metaverse, you know, on the Ethereum side, that was one of the biggest dilemmas. People wanted to build things, but there was no real sustainable way to do that. Right. So it's a question of like, what are the mechanisms that are going to enable this?
So this is why that whole invisible hand of the market is important, because that is what dictates what gets that that sort of like, I don't want to say funding, but that's what gets the people to be interested enough to pay for a particular service or idea.
Yeah.
If it's good enough, people would pay for it. If it's not, they won't.
That's literally the whole, like, that's the dynamics of the market.
That's how a company forms.
Yeah, that's how real products are made, right? Real value. If you could generate real value for the ecosystem, for humanity, right, you're gonna get that value in return.
That's right.
That's literally how economics function.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I guess, you know, so this is a legitimate, I guess, proposal, I guess. If people see the real value in this TITT thing, then somebody will pay a Bitcoin for it. But I guess kind of like holding the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, but we just said that it doesn't really depend on Bitoshi, right? So it's just like you kind of move on.
Correct. So yeah, if Bitoshi wants to go down that pathway of like, yeah, I'm going to hold like the next potential, like at least like the next protocol standard proposals, like at hostage in a sense for a price. Well, then somebody else is going to put forth their own proposals, and then the community,
and then everybody else will adopt it, and then that's it.
Yeah. So running that risk, which is fine. It's free market, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to function.
See, that's the best DAO that's ever been created. The invisible hand of the market.
Yeah.
It's like you come up with proposals, products, ideas, and people like it and they pay for it, and that's what gets used. Yeah. Not the best proposal, not the best standard, not the best structure, not the best technology always wins. It's what people gravitate towards, and that's it.
The consensus, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on here as far as like this is definitely not what we were expecting as far as like where we would be. I guess like 2 months almost after blockout is.
Feels like 6 months, dude.
I know, but so we got a little hiccup here, right? There's some disruption in the the movement at the moment, right? But I don't think this is anything that's going to really offset the future of bitmaps.
It might be considered a disruption, but I just don't see it that way. It's just like, you know, no one can control Bitoshi. He's going to tweet whatever he wants, which is fine. He should.
Yeah,
but it's not going to disrupt Bitmap.
No.
Right? Because people are still building on top of it. Developers are discovering new problems, having solutions for those problems. We have Bitmap community, BitLord, like all these like contributors coming up with their own solutions.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have like an organic growth of an ecosystem because it depends on the devs.
100%. Yeah. I totally agree, dude. So, I mean, sky is not falling, everybody. Everything's still on track. We just wanted to make this video, I guess, because we've been seeing all these concerns, I guess, like play out on the X. What do you call it? The X space.
The X space, yeah.
X whatever, aka Twitter.
Yeah,
I don't know what the
Xverse is already taken, so we had to take X space.
X space.
Yeah.
God damn it, dude! Why did you do this?
Yeah.
I miss Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been seeing it all play out, and you know, we're concerned as well, just because, at least I am personally, because, you know, I do value, you know, reputation and things like this.
Yeah, associations.
Very seriously, like because we're committing a lot ourselves to this, right? So we don't want this to be interpreted negatively in any way, right?
Yeah.
Like this is even though this is a very collaborative space, this Web3 ecosystem, it's also very competitive, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And even like this whole ordinals ecosystem, for whatever reason, has decided to fade Bitmap as much as possible. So yeah, adding fuel to that with this is definitely
that's a good point.
It's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And I agree.
This is not going to help us in any way, really. So I guess this is like what's the word? This is a call out, I guess, to Bitoshi. It's like, do better. That's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll call it at that. And if you guys have any questions, definitely hit us up in the comment section below. We read all the comments, we reply to all the comments, and we get to see exactly what everybody's thinking when watching these things. So I appreciate it. And make sure you follow us on all our Twitter channels. And I appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.